This is the Gospel Briefing. I'm Charles King. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. America turns 250, and today we're talking about what a Christian actually does with a birthday like that, a fertilizer shortage you didn't see coming, and a doctor's fight in Oregon that says something ancient about work and dignity. Headlines, heartbeat, hope. Let's get into it. 250 years. That's the milestone the United States hits tomorrow, and the way the country is marking it tells you something about the moment we're in. Heat domes are baking the eastern half of the nation, forcing cities to scale back outdoor celebrations. The BBC ran a long piece this week titled, quote, "After 250 years, the American dream is surviving, but only just." NPR aired student podcasts on what life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness actually mean to young Americans today, and Christianity Today revisited a sermon, not a new one, an old one. Frederick Douglass, 1852, Rochester, New York, invited to speak at an Independence Day celebration, and Douglass, a Christian, a former slave, a preacher's cadence in every line, asked the question, "What to the slave is the 4th of July?" He praised the founders, and then he indicted the nation for the gap between what it professed and what it practiced. Here's why that sermon matters this weekend. Because Christians in America are always holding two things at once: gratitude for a country that has given extraordinary freedoms, including the freedom to gather and worship this Sunday without fear, and honesty about the places where the country has fallen short of its own creed, and shorter still of God's. Psalm 33 verse 12 says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." Not blessed is the nation that mentions God. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. That's a diagnostic verse, not a decorative one. You can love your country tomorrow. You should. Fire up the grill, watch the fireworks, teach your kids the history, but remember that our deepest citizenship isn't in Philadelphia or Washington. Philippians 3:20. Our citizenship is in heaven. That's not a line that makes you less American. It's the line that makes you the best kind of American, grateful, honest, and never confused about who is actually king. Second story, a fertilizer shortage. Stay with me. This one is more important than it sounds. NPR is reporting that the recent closure of the Strait of Hormuz during the Iran conflict disrupted global shipments of fertilizer and natural gas. Natural gas is the key ingredient in most nitrogen fertilizer. When it stops moving, fertilizer stops being made. When fertilizer stops being made, farmers plant less, or harvest less, or pay more. The good news, and NPR is careful here, is that American grocery shoppers probably won't feel a major spike. Our supply chains have absorbed the shock for now, but farmers in poorer countries will feel it. Some already are. Here's what I keep coming back to. A ship changes course in a narrow waterway between Iran and Oman, and a family in sub-Saharan Africa pays more for bread 6 months later. That's the world we actually live in, deeply invisibly connected. Scripture saw this a long time ago. Genesis 41. Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream, 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine, and the wise response is not panic, it's preparation, storehouses, stewardship, planning for the lean years while the fat years are still on. I'm not predicting famine. I'm saying the biblical posture toward a fragile food system is not anxiety and it's not denial. It's stewardship. Give thanks over your dinner tonight like someone who knows how many hands and how many miracles it took to get it to your table. Because the answer is a lot. Third story, a quieter one, but I think it matters. In Eugene, Oregon, a group of emergency room doctors just won what NPR is calling a David-and-Goliath fight against a national physician staffing firm. The company wanted to replace them with cheaper contract labor. The doctors pushed back using a new state law that limits corporate ownership of medical practices, and they won. Other states are watching. Now, Christians will disagree about the policy specifics here, and that's fine. Some of you lean toward stronger labor protections. Some of you lean toward freer markets. Both instincts have biblical roots. But underneath the policy is something Scripture speaks to directly. Work has dignity. A doctor is not a widget. Deuteronomy 24:14. You shall not oppress a hired worker who is poor and needy. James 5 warns landlords and employers who treat labor as line items. And Proverbs 22:29 celebrates the skilled worker who stands before kings. The Bible takes vocation seriously. It takes the person doing the work seriously, and any system, corporate, governmental, or otherwise, that treats human labor as interchangeable inventory eventually collides with the God who knit that worker together in his mother's womb. That's the story under the story. Whatever your politics. Now to the quick briefs. Oregon isn't the only labor story today. NPR reports several states, including Florida, have rolled back worker heat protections just as a heat dome scorches the eastern United States. Christians can debate regulation. We cannot debate whether the person laying asphalt in 105-degree heat bears the image of God. He does. Act accordingly. Second, NPR ran a lovely piece on how coffee, not tea, fueled the American Revolution. Colonial coffee houses were where the pamphlets were passed and the plots were hatched. A good reminder that God often uses ordinary tables and ordinary conversations to move history. Your small group might matter more than you think. Third, the BBC is reporting that Instagram has been running ads in India that promote child sexual abuse material, linking to content on Telegram. Let that sit for a second. A trillion-dollar company's algorithm is monetizing the destruction of children. Jesus said in Matthew 18 that it would be better for such a person to have a millstone hung around their neck and be drowned in the sea. He was not speaking metaphorically about how serious this is. Pray for the investigators. Pray for the children. And fourth, Taylor Swift's rumored wedding celebrations reportedly began in New York this week. I mention it only because roughly 40% of the internet is talking about it. Marriage is a good gift from God. May it be for her and for every couple, more than a spectacle. May it be a covenant. Before the verse, a word from our sponsor. You're reading Romans 9. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What does that even mean? Most apps say pray about it. Bible Copilot walks you through the Hebrew Paul was quoting, the historical context, and how Calvin and Wesley each read it in under 30 seconds. Trusted AI for Bible study, not generic AI. 5 stars in the App Store. Get your first month of Pro free at mybiblecopilot.com/gospel. That's mybiblecopilot.com/gospel. Bible Copilot. Today's verse is Proverbs 14:34. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Tomorrow you'll hear a lot of speeches about greatness. Scripture measures nations by a different ruler, not GDP, not military power, not the length of the parade. Righteousness. What we protect, who we honor, how we treat the weak. That's the scoreboard God is keeping. And it's the one worth playing for. Thanks for listening to the Gospel Briefing. If today's episode helped you think more clearly, send it to one friend before the fireworks start tomorrow. Enjoy your 4th, love your country, love your king more. I'll see you Monday.